And welcome to the David Tomsic Show, fighting tyranny just one day. That's right, one day at a time. It's Thursday, May 29th, 2025. I'm glad you can make it. Listen, Donald Trump, we've talked a lot about him on this program. I just got through with a video yesterday about the whole Harvard thing. You know, he's always had an issue with Harvard, dating back to his own life. And of course, now Barron's. And of course, none of this plays on it, right? None of this plays on the current drama, although it does. But there's more to all this, isn't there? There's multiple things happening in our country and around the world. Sometimes very difficult for me to even decide what to cover here on this channel. But I want to keep it real because I think it's important, because so many Americans are fooled, having been indoctrinated by the right-wing agenda for probably 50 years. Remember, this did not happen overnight. Christian nationalism did not happen overnight. The MAGA movement didn't happen overnight. There were many organizations that play behind the scenes, especially with Christian nationalism. They have made people believe that we have to change our Constitution to reflect that it's a Christian country. We have to change our laws based on Christian beliefs, not necessarily Christ's beliefs or words, but what they believe. Yes, what they believe. That's frightening. So these things are not new. Donald Trump is just a symptom of them. And I've said this before, my friends. He has used the system. He has used all the raw material that was there over the years and pieced it together to build a coalition that right now is trying to overrun the Constitution of the United States and the rule of law, trying to eliminate rights of people, trying to change how we all believe and think by law. I kind of digressed there a little bit, but we'll move on. So recently, Donald Trump, since he got into office, has had a lot of lawsuits basically levied against him. He has tried to change things with executive orders, and you see him, he's proud of it. And executive orders aren't really democratic. It's just something he does, each president does. Fortunately, they can be written out by the next president. I think most of them can, but still the damage is done. In this case today, a trade court ruled against one of his executive orders. In a sense, they stopped his trade policy in its tracks, at least most of it. It says here in Reuters, a U.S. trade court ruling that blocked most of President Donald Trump's tariffs and found he has overstepped his authority triggered some relief on financial markets on Thursday, while adding to uncertainty weighing on the global economy. So there's still uncertainty in the world. And I've tried to relay this to you, my viewers, that it's not just about America. We have to get out of that mindset that it's always about America. Yes, we're a financial power, but we only have less than 5% of the population. So we can't believe that we can just always get our way, always be on top, unlike what the MAGA people think or the Christian nationalists think. So in this case, Trump was rebuked. He will appeal it. Now remember, the power for tariffs really has been delegated by the Constitution of the United States to Congress. But Donald Trump used two acts, the National Emergency Act and the International Emergency Economic Act, to take power, to take authority over tariffs, the border policies, and other things. Now, of course, these things were all being fought in court, thankfully. But this is another loss for Donald Trump. He's been basically sued quite a bit and has a lot of rulings against him. Actually, most of them have gone against him. Others are still up in the air, and I'm sure many will go to the Supreme Court. But what does everybody else think? What does this mean for America? So he lost a court battle. He's got 3.5 years left. What do people really think about Donald Trump? Now, we see polls. He's lost a lot of support. We know that his cabinet will do anything he wants. We know that the Congress will do anything he wants. We're still waiting on the results of the big, beautiful bill in the Senate, and we know that was a disaster for poor people. And here's the problem I have. I don't understand how anybody with a heart at all that's beating can actually agree to just cut people off of Medicaid, leave them with no health insurance, leave them with no safety net at all. I just can't believe people would accept that and support that, but they do. I can't believe that anybody with a heart would actually just want to throw hardworking immigrants out of the country, illegal or not, if they're actually here working and basically providing a service in America. I can't believe people with a heart would actually allow a 2-year-old with cancer to be deported. But they do, because you see, the word illegal is put in front of immigrant. Donald Trump used this word masterfully. You just say illegal, because it's illegal. Well, a lot of things are illegal, and yet our Congress gets away with a lot of things. Donald Trump has gotten away with a lot of things. Over his whole life, he did many, 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 many things illegally. But he's a good guy because he's white. And yes, racism plays a big role in all this. Of course it does. It plays a big role in MAGA, more than you think, and a huge role in Christian nationalism, whether they know it or not. See, I was questioned about that statement, whether they know it or not. You see, many people, they take these policies and they run with them, but they don't know, or they don't realize, or they don't want to know, because they're like this, that you're hurting other people. You're hurting people who aren't white, who aren't American, who have no say, who live on the fringes of society, the poor. You're hurting all these people, but you don't care because you're going to get at least what you think what you want. But what you think you want may not be what's good for you. We know that from history. So I went and I found an article, and I thought this was an excellent article. And as soon as I can pull it up here, because my cursor goes faster than I'm able to click. Anybody knows why that is, let me know. This is from Amnesty International. Now, I know there's going to be people, it's Amnesty International, they're liberal. Well, at least you can't say they're Democrats, because international. I still get that, by the way. Democrats. Was that a Democrat? Are they voting for Democrats? Did you get that information from Democrats? As if you got information from Republicans, it's better. If you got it from Fox News, the fascist news network, it's correct. If you got it from Sean Hannity, definitely correct, right? I mean, here's the problem. And again, I've said this. Donald Trump has done a masterful job at building a narrative, right? It's like Bill O'Reilly, who's one of his big supporters, another right-wing ex-Fox News guy who was run out of Fox News because, he was manhandling women. But now he's got his own little podcast, and he's still somebody that the right-wing people go to and trust. Can't make this up. But, people argue with me that Donald Trump is doing the right thing because America was in such bad shape. We need a man like that. Well, Donald Trump created the narrative that America was in such bad shape. And people wanted it to be in bad shape because they didn't like Joe Biden, or they didn't get everything they wanted. This is the most prosperous nation in the world, even with a slight recession compared to everybody else. And yet everybody in this country cries when they don't get what they want. When Joe Biden didn't do what they wanted, which I'm not sure what they wanted. The only thing I disagreed with Joe Biden with in a big way was his actions in Ukraine. We should have settled that then, and that's true. Now, Donald Trump was going to settle it in 24 hours. Now Putin's using him like a tool, which I predicted. I said this. Putin used Donald Trump as a tool. He has no respect for the guy. He knows he's a liar. He knows he's all these things. Putin's not going to listen to a word Donald Trump says. He's going to use him, and he has. You can read between the lines or not there. But people believed that this country was falling apart. So, of course, they're going to look for a guy who's going to save their country from immigrants, save their country from a financial disaster. After re-looking at Joe Biden's numbers, they weren't really that bad. I know you're going to disagree. I've had family members said it was the best times they've ever had. And yet I've known them. I've known their lives personally and from afar. And nothing changed for them. It's not as if anything changed for them from the previous administration to Trump's administration, to Biden's administration, to Trump's administration. They believed it somehow because they thought gas was cheaper, but that wasn't because of Donald Trump. That's because the world shut down due to COVID. And of course, there was more supply than demand for fuel. The price went down. Yet that's what they see, that one thing, and they don't understand supply and demand. They don't understand anything else, just that Donald Trump saved them. And yet there was really no difference. Inflation did go down under Joe Biden. It did. Jobs were pretty steady and going up under Joe Biden. The stock market was pretty much still a bull market under Joe Biden. It really didn't get chaotic until Donald Trump came in. But I can say that, and I understand that to be factual. Doesn't mean I loved Joe Biden. It means those were the facts. But when you create the word fake news, or the phrase fake news, which he did, fake news, his supporters loved it. So no one can tell them the truth, because now no one can tell them the truth except Donald Trump. And they're not smart enough to figure that out. So Amnesty International, and I know I went the long way around to get to this. I'm going to read this. It's very important. President Trump's first 100 days. Now, obviously, this was in April that this article was written, but still pertinent today. Attacks on human rights, cruelty, and chaos. If those shoes fit, slip them on. As President Donald Trump marks his first 100 days in office, Amnesty International highlights the human rights crisis fueled by President Trump's administration's authoritarian practices, discriminatory and racist policies, and dangerous rhetoric. Okay, so in Chaos and Cruelty, 10 compounding assaults on human rights, Amnesty International reviews Donald Trump's attacks on domestic and international human rights in his first 100 days in office. From suppressing dissent to demonizing and targeting immigrants to retreating from multilateral bodies and protecting human rights around the world, the Trump administration has systematically eroded human rights protections, fostering a climate of fear and division, and undermining the rule of law. In a nutshell, my friends, 100 days into a second term, President Trump has led with cruelty and chaos, creating a human rights emergency that has affected millions of people by suppressing dissent, undermining the rule of law, and eroding norms and institutions essential to the protection of human rights, said Paul O'Brien, Executive Director of Amnesty International USA. The Trump administration has fully embraced authoritarian tactics and more commonly associated with repressive leaders to silence and punish those who disagree with him, while weaponizing the government against people and institutions in the United States and beyond to entrench his own power and further anti-rights agenda. Okay, he went on to say, when we look at the cumulative effect of the Trump administration's actions, it amounts to a sweeping attack on human rights and the systems that uphold them. From this perspective, the damage and devastation of the first 100 days are undeniably clear. So that sums up what I've been saying for a while. This is the plan. You see, to make America white again, and I got basically a comment about that on another platform, and it was offensive to some white person. They said, well, America was a white country. Okay. No, America actually was a red country because the Native Americans were here. So it was their country first. And right here in my area, there are plenty of Native American tribes that lived here. And guess what? They're not here anymore. Where'd they go? What happened? You see, the so-called white settlement people, they just took over. It's their country now. And that's because it's now a Christian country. The founding fathers were all evangelical Christians. No, they weren't. This is the rhetoric, this is the story of America. It's all fiction, but we've created this wondrous story the right wing of the Republican Party has created of how America was the great nation chosen by God for those people to come over here and wipe out the Native Americans and take this land and then treat them even worse as time went forward. And then as slavery took root in this country, treat them like they weren't human either. This is America. But see, the right-wing people, whether they know it or not, there I go, are behind this. You see, to make America great again means you're trying to make America what you think it was at some point in time, which was white, dominated, Protestant Christians who evolved into, after the New Apostolic Reformation, which was the worst thing that could have happened to the Christian church in America. After that, they developed into these far right-wing people that became really good at judging people. They became really good at setting themselves apart from everybody because the Bible said so. But Jesus didn't set himself apart when he walked this earth. He was with a bunch of people. Many of those right-wing people would not be near today. Lepers and the poor and the downtrodden, criminals, tax collectors. There's a different gospel today, see? And this is what MAGA, the bigger group, MAGA, is using. The fact that we've got to separate ourselves from all the riffraff, from the brown immigrants, from people with visas coming here to go to school. Get them out of here. This is for white people only, white Americans only. And yet America was never just for white Americans. America was the land of opportunity for everybody. We welcomed, that was the idea, the Statue of Liberty. We welcome the poor. We welcome, but see, that's gone because a new gospel has emerged. The right-wing gospel of white only, everybody else in the back of the bus. No, off the bus and out of the country. So Amnesty International hits the nail right on the head. But no one listens very often to these people because they have their agenda. What's their agenda? Well, human rights. We don't want to go down that road. We're about our rights. We're about money. How about that budget? We got to cut it all. We got to have a balanced budget. Listen, I've talked about the need for having sense in our fiscal house here in the United States. And sometimes I went overboard. And now I think about it, and I've kind of revised my statement, and I'm being honest with you. That deficit's not going to go away as long as we do the things we do, which is have 890-some bases open around the world as we continue to pour money into military contractors who pretty much give us junk. I can go down a list of things. The things I will not sacrifice, though, is helping people. If I have to go into debt to help those people, we do. We join together to do that. And if you want to get rid of people because they're a criminal, I'll say it again. Arrest those criminals, give them their day in court, and then deport them. Don't send them to an El Salvador prison. Deport them to where they should go. I don't know how many there are. At one time I heard there was about 13 to 15,000, according to some survey taken under Donald Trump in the first administration. He's claiming it's 10 million. You don't think that's batshit crazy? No, that's rhetoric. That's lies. That's manipulation. That's how you inundate people with falsities to make them want to go out and buy guns at 80-some years old, because any minute now they're going to be attacked. And sure, there's violence in the United States. Sure there is. There's gun violence in the United States. We do have to do something about it. I believe in the right to have arms. I do. But we have to always caution to see who gets these weapons, how they're used. We have to look at it and see how we can prevent some of these crazy tragedies. It's terrible. But instead, the right wing now just wants to load up on all the guns and ammunition, put their flag on the back, their other Christian flag with whatever that flag represents on their truck, and drive through town. Remember January 6th? Insurrection. People still say, that was not insurrection. That was Antifa. It wasn't Antifa busting down the doors of the Capitol building with Christian flags and Christian shirts stating, Trump is my president, Jesus is my God. That didn't make sense. It was Christian nationalists that were involved, as well as many right-wing militias. They were obvious. They had the shirts. They had the paraphernalia. They had a reason. They came down the street from where Donald Trump gave his speech. He tried his best to get his people, to get him back in power, because he was cheated out of the election. No evidence of that. You might say there was, but there was not. Fox News lost a $790 billion lawsuit because they couldn't prove it. They said things on the air that were incorrect, and they were sued and they lost. It's good to have these dreams and saying, yeah, it was all the left-wing Democrats that cheated, and they had all these things going on, 7 billion new ballots, and make up the number. But it never happened. The insurrection did. And it's time we realize that was a strike against Donald Trump that can never be erased. It was his doing, because he revved these people up, gave them enough rhetoric and crazy talk that they believed that they were going to take it back. I don't know how they thought that would happen. Forced Mike Pence, hang him? What were they trying to do with Mike Pence? I'm not a Mike Pence fan, but once again, we have rule of law. We have 3 branches of government. We have a constitution, a Bill of Rights. These are the things that base our country, not on some Christian nationalist idea of what the country should be, not of what MAGA people in general think it should be. We have the foundation, which was solid. But instead, Donald Trump has attacked that foundation, hence all the lawsuits against him. His latest loss here was the loss on his authority to levy tariffs. These will go to the Supreme Court. There will be a fight. The question is now, my friends, we know who he is. We know the plan. We know the actors. What will he do next? How will he get his agenda through? What will he do? How far will this go? Many people would fight a battle and realize the battle's lost. I'm going to retreat to a safer line of defense and then finish my term out, in this case as the president. Or will he, because he's arrogant, because he has sociopathic and psychopathic tendencies, will he then continue to escalate this, making this a bigger constitutional crisis? Will he escalate it to the point where people will have to rise up against him? I don't know the answer to that. And no, I do not promote violence. I do not promote what happened on January 6th. This country has a peaceful way to settle things. Protests is one of them. Of course, Donald Trump wants to outlaw protests. For that reason, see, protests bring attention to an issue. He does not want more and more people to wake up. We'll see what happens. Again, I'm not predicting anything here. I'm giving you possibilities. I'm giving you insight. So I hope you kind of got a lot out of this particular video today. Thank you for watching. Again, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. Again, I want to promote our other channel, the Nights Around the Fire channel. I have a link attached to this description box here. Please go over and watch all the videos. The girls put a lot of work into it, Ashley and Sue, and I know you'll enjoy the videos. Please like, subscribe, and share to that channel as well. Anyway, God bless you, and I'll see you, God willing, tomorrow right here on your favorite channel for news, information, analysis, and commentary, The David Tomsic Show. See you tomorrow.